All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Midweek Gaming. I'm Nick. On this side of the comms, of course, Justin, providing gameplay. And yeah, what an interesting week we have. Happy New Year, everyone, first off.
Our first video after the New Year's.
Exactly. First video after New Year has begun, 2024. Hopefully, it won't be as bad as a year for gaming. Oh, no. 2023 was a great year for gaming. Let's hope it'll be a better year for Bungie than 2023. like, it's almost paradoxical. 2023 was a great year for gaming and a crappy year for certain companies, specifically like Bungie, who we're probably going to forget that 2023 ever existed. But we'll see. We'll see. But anyways, yeah, Happy New Year. And let's start off the new year with a letter from Square Enix because why not? For those who don't know, every year Square Enix puts out a letter from the president of the company addressing the wider public and kind of stating their intentions for the future. It's an open letter. You can go onto Square Enix and find it. It's pretty easy. If not, we have it linked down in the comments. And Square Enix's New Year's letters have always been interesting, to say the least. They've always been fun reads because every time you read them, you begin questioning the sanity behind the people at Square Enix and their business sense because it's just one trend chase after the next. For example,
They,
one particular year, I think last year,
Understood.
the president's letter mentioned a blockchain a total of 14 times. So, and that was in a letter addressing plans to implement blockchain and NFTs into games. And I think they tried and it flopped. So, yeah. But yeah, every year it's always some new trend they're chasing. And they always like double down on it in their New Year's letter with the president being like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Almost like they're daring you to call their bluff. And they always do it. But, anyways. Uh, in the more recent years, though, I think somewhere in 2023, the previous president, Yotsuke Matsuda, yeah, stepped down after 10 years of the company as president. So people thought, hey, new president, new changes. Maybe every New Year's letter isn't going to sound like one giant corporate buzzword after the next. And yeah. And the new president, Tatsuki Kiryu? Forgive me, sir, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. He's taking over. So everyone, like I said, thought, hey, new management, maybe the New Year's letters aren't going to sound questionable. Yeah, that went out the window. So the New Year's letter from the president came out, and among the usual jibes that came out, let me just make sure this is the right letter. There are several letters I have linked here. Hold up. I need to make sure I've got the right letter here. This would be very concerning if I didn't have the right letter. That would be embarrassing.
I would have made mistakes.
And I think I did make a mistake because I didn't have the right letter. I'll find it. I'll find it. But that's okay. Let's just say that the new letter mentions blockchain or not blockchain. Uh, mentions AI as the new trend they're chasing, and it seems that they're doubling down with. Here we go. Here's the New Year's letter in their news section from corporate. Here we go. They open up by addressing, the COVID-19 pandemic, how it got better in 2023, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They also comment how they will attempt to implement AI into their games. Obviously, not their words exactly, but here's the exact phrase I'm looking for. Ahem. And I quote from the desk of the president. In terms of new business domains, we previously identified three focal investment fields, namely blockchain, entertainment, Web 3.0, AI, and the cloud. Last year, we redefined our overarching mission and goals for these three fields. We are currently working to modify our organizational structure and optimize our resource allocation to support these efforts. Unquote. So, yeah, nothing's changed much. Seems like new president didn't change much, and they're even doubling down on their whole plans for blockchain, Web 3.0, and AI and the cloud. The last one kind of confuses me. I guess they're going to implement more cloud saves. I don't know. But yeah, so that didn't change much. And this is kind of a funny little topic that I wanted to get into. Regardless of what you think of Square Enix's pursued goals and pursuements, oops, pursuings of their current plans, one thing is certainly clear: AI seems to be the new buzzword in the corporate business. And it seems Square Enix isn't the only ones chasing it. In fact, AI seems to be kind of becoming the next buzzword all over the place. In fact, recently EA revealed some new project and some new patent they're creating, which, if it pans out, might actually be pretty interesting. But considering it's EA, I am always skeptical with anything they do. It's actually from varying Rally Gaming? I can't pronounce the article's name, forgive me. But anyways, linked again down below. Apparently EA is working on player voiced characters in games. Now you might be thinking, what the heck does that mean? Well, effectively this patent effectively stipulates that what they want to do is they want to create some technology that will allow players to voice their own characters in games. And no, I'm not talking about you getting a job at EA. I'm talking about, if this technology works, you can actually effectively implement your voice into the voiced character for a game. So effectively, what you'll do is you will basically give the game voice lines or your voice, and through effectively synthesization and modulation, they can effectively mod your voice to be the voice of the character in a game. Now, there's a bunch of technical
Did
jargon
real
here.
quick, I'll ask. Did they say that this was going to be kind of like along the lines of a form of modding for players, or was this going to be like kind of players being able to kind of customize certain parts of their game if they so desired, or
Well,
actually
it's hard.
taking part in the development of a game in a way?
Not development, mind you. This is actually a method to implement after the game's release, at least I would think. Again, I can't give you any specifics because all we're looking at is patent details here, so how exactly this will be implemented in the game itself is hard to say. But effectively, what'll happen is the player will give speech content data, the synthesizer will filter it, it will identify player data, voice convert it, and effectively try to use it to effectively use your voice to provide voices to characters. So don't think you're going to technically be involved in the development process. I think it would probably be better to say it like this: think of a non-vocal game that will have vocalizations for the main character. You will give the game vocal data, and the game will effectively mod your voice to be the voice of the character. It sounds a bit of complexity, but it's not really that complex when you really break it down. Effectively, you'll be using your voice sample as the sample for the character's voice. Again, how the hell they're going to implement this is beyond me, but the exact rundown states that the patent outlines a system that will involve implementing speech content data, so your voice, into a synthesizer model, which will generate source acoustic features, so the character's voice, representing the desired voice or style. So effectively, your voice will be used as the base for a character, and through a mixture of audio synthesization, they will turn it into the character's voice. Interesting?
Interesting.
The heart of the patent is, again, the voice converter itself. And again, this all works on AI. So, well,
Well,
VI, as I like to
I
call it.
wouldn't. I'd say like it's not probably gonna have like the AI very well likely going and taking after a certain number of lines that go and fulfill like specific purposes. So basically, the lines that you have to say will likely be key phrases. That way, the AI has like a lot of base material to work with, and then we'll just go and fill, like, basically create the character voice lines off of that.
That would be a theory. Again, I hate to use the word AI because I prefer the Mass Effect version of VI, which is actually more accurate to what we have nowadays. True AI, if I make it off a little tangential here, is technically when the computer is creating its own codes without input from other people and is effectively thinking for itself. that's when you have to be concerned. What we have right now is more along the lines of what Mass Effect universe would call VI. So effectively just primitive codes doing things that we tell it to. Can't really do anything beyond what we tell it to, though.
Hmm.
But again, another tangential for another day. And it's not just EA kind of hopping on the VI voice train, or VI train itself. Oy. The VI train itself, but it seems that the days before the game is also apparently making AI generated ads. I think.
Interesting.
This is a bit of an interesting article that I saw running around and I thought I'd just include it as for flavor text. But it seems, yeah, the days before, the headline from PC Games. The days before is definitely not AI ads are its best feature. The days before appears to be using AI generated voices and scripts, but the bizarre in-game adverts are so bad that they're somehow good. Which, what is this? What is happening here? Like I said, the takeaway from all of this is that Square is not the only ones on the bandwagon when it comes to like the newest hot thing on the trend list. Like I said, last few years it was blockchain and Web 3.0, which if you are kind of in the game space or tech space, you know Web 3.0 is more of a buzzword than anything else, but that's beside the point. And blockchain, that's just wrapped up in a whole section of how software works. And as a buddy of mine, who, fun fact, actually was in a project trying to implement blockchain in a way it was never meant to be implemented, i.e., anything outside of crypto, it does not work. But yeah, so when people generally mean blockchain, either number one, they have no idea what they're talking about, or number two, they're probably talking about some variation of crypto, which in that case, run. Well, actually, no, in both cases, run, because either number one, they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about,
Run.
or number two, they're trying to scam you. So,
You're better off running or running.
yeah, run or run faster, depending on which outcome there is. But honestly, it's weird to see. This reminds me of that whole incident, which actually I should also probably link in the comments and probably should dig up back when Ubisoft was on the bandwagon of um, NFTs, and they were trying to like have NFT character pictures, and yeah, that is. I gotta dig that up now. I gotta look that up now. They had a whole like program set up for it and everything, but it never got off the ground, and I don't know. Like again, this is one of those examples of corporations just chasing trends. In the case of Square Enix, they do it to an almost like sarcastic comedic extent. And in the case of other companies, you just look at them and you're like, what is going on?
What is this?
Like again, in the case of Square Enix, I wonder what the heck goes through the president and the boardroom's mind when they were like, "Ah, yes, blockchain. It will make us so much money. NFTs. Ah, yes. Let me sell this NFT of Cloud's face." But anyways, I don't know. Sell an NFT of the freaking Buster Sword. I don't know. Maybe that breaks some copyright law though. But I don't know. It's I don't know. What am I saying here? It's just corporations are almost desperate to chase these trends, and it's almost comedic to look back and just kind of see the desperate attempts that they make to do so. Like I said, the whole Ubisoft thing where they tried to create a whole program to sell you NFTs, which
Yes.
just what did you think of NFTs when they came out, Justin? What was your take on them? I know you know what they are.
Originally, not like originally there was some level of justification to it, but because people are greedy and because everybody saw it and was like, "All right, I want to do that," it became very dull and very nothing to it very quickly. Like, take the monkey one for example. The monkey NFTs are a prime example of it's literally just, yes, let me take like this basic thing and just slap it in your face and consider it the best thing on the face of the planet. And it's like, and it was just
Me,
kind of very money schemy.
I always found NFTs to be a dumb idea from start to finish. I
Mm.
I'll admit this. I do kind of keep tabs on the art world to some degree, or at the very least, some animation ish. Don't get me wrong, I'm not exactly an industry like the watcher or anything. I'm not like the games industry where I keep an almost constant eye on what's going on there. It's more akin to like I have a passing interest, and occasionally I'll peek into the animation industry and just be like, "So what's going on here?" And a lot of what I heard was not good. Like when it comes to art and animation, everyone in the art world and the animation world more or less considered NFTs a dumb idea from start to finish. And some people I followed especially were like, "This is a terrible idea," because the whole concept behind NFTs, for those who don't remember, was let us make an image, but it is technically your image. You own it. And there's some like back end software revolving around how that works and revolving around like codes and possession of things. It's a whole thing. But here's the problem. There's nothing preventing anyone from taking that image and just copying it. Copy paste exists in Windows since the dawn of time. So there's nothing stopping anyone from just copying the image. Yes, maybe there's something somewhere that says you own it, but good luck proving that unless you dig up all those codes. And even then, who gives a shit? Like,
Who gives a shit?
like
Damn. Yeah, no, that's the big thing when it really like started to build out and go from there is the fact that it just became so dull and people got so sucked into it. Like basically take the same type of energy people had towards Bitcoin when it really took off, but make it with art that in essence is virtually identical to one another. And it's like,
that's
all right, it's basically taking the whole yes, let me go and buy like pixels and then sell them online in video games to a whole different degree.
that's the thing, right? Like
Like,
I like my I can see crypto working in there is a reality in which crypto works, and I can
mm.
certainly see the technology, and I can certainly see the use behind crypto.
That's I'll say this real
I'm not
quick.
a crypto bro, but I can see the technology.
No, I will say this when it comes to crypto, real quick, is the fact that crypto does actually have its own place now. Like it actually legitimately has its own place in the world and whatnot. It's just it doesn't nothing has a place where everyone feels the need to saturate it because when a new currency comes out and everybody tries to make their own subversion of that new currency, i.e. NFTs, it just saturates it and it just yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Like crypto, like I said, it's like you said, it has its place in the world now. NFTs, I will forever think of as a bad idea from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
again,
and
back on the topic. Hmm.
I'll add this one more thing is the fact that there was actually a big difference between NFTs and crypto. One of the
Oh
big
yes,
things
absolutely.
for Bitcoin was the fact that you couldn't just out of the blue get a Bitcoin. Your computer had to like do work. It had to do a calculation. In essence, there is technically a finite amount of Bitcoin. It's just it takes an ever growing longer and longer amount of time to get the rest of them in fluctuation. So take that and now just remove that whole aspect of a specific amount and just make it however many like NFTs you want, like ever growing amount of NFTs. Like there is no limit on it, therefore it's just in essence has no real true value.
Again, that's the thing, right? It's like technically you have a thing that says yes, I own this NFT, but again, you could just copy paste, and sure, they might not have it, but again,
Yes.
who cares?
Yes, that's the biggest thing. Screenshot.
Again, it's anyways, moving
Yeah.
back onto the games industry. That's why I always cringe every time I see these kinds of things kind of happen in the games industry because it's like, here we go, chasing the
A
trend again.
mistake being made again.
What's gonna come out of this that I don't want
Yeah.
to know about? It's like,
Who's going and
oh,
falling into the same trap thinking that it will make them money when in reality it will not?
yeah, it's almost like the here's the thing, right? The industry the games industry always has like, well, here's the thing: all entertainment industries chase trends. That is a given, right?
Hmm.
But when it comes to the entertainment, when it comes to the gaming industry, that is most closely aligned with the tech industry when it comes to forms of entertainment. The trends in tech generally tend to translate into the trends in gaming, or they try to insert themselves into gaming. And the problem is, 99% of the time, they do not work.
Yeah.
I mean, t- take when the internet, I don't remember if this was around there, but I want to say, because this was when I was younger, so I don't remember all of it. But I want to say when the internet first started like really getting popular and everything, like around what, the early 2000s, something like that. Like when when the internet started exploding, right? You also started to see a big increase in like MMOs, for example. And yeah, this came out of games like WoW and stuff like that, but it's kind of like that thing where once everyone started getting the internet, the idea of online games started becoming much bigger. And again, I might be talking out my arse here because I might be misremembering facts here, but a part of me wants to think that that might have been around the time when MMOs started becoming a thing too. And because of WoW's success, everyone started copying MMOs. And so, in a way, the kind of proliferation of the internet kind of allowed WoW to exist. And WoW's success allowed MMOs to exist. So, one trend in the tech industry kind of allowed another trend in the games industry to exist. But in the cases of more modern trends in the industry, it's almost like the tech industry trends are inserting themselves into gaming now. It's not like this is allowing this. This is directly becoming this in another industry. Can you imagine just like if NFTs existed in like the the literature space? Like I almost that's almost becoming a thing now with like Chat GBT creating stories.
Yeah.
But I don't think any writers are particularly threatened by Chat GPT.
No, that I'll make a point when it comes to writing, is the fact that it's no matter what going to be a creative thing in every single story. Even if you take three, four, 100 writers and make them all write the same type of genre with the same kind of elements, 9 times out of 10 they're all going to be extraordinarily different than one another. You'll occasionally get like one or two that are pretty darn close, but they're not going to be on top of one another. So
That's the
that's
thing,
the
right?
nice thing about things like that, is it's all going to have its own form of uniqueness to it.
That's the thing, right? And it's like, honestly, here's the thing. I get like things like there are certain apps that create art for you. I think also not ChatGPT, but there are some other ones that create art as well. I can't remember the names of any of them now, but they exist. Trust me.
Hmm.
Which I know on the internet is thrown away too much. Trust me, guys, it exists. But anyways, these art creation softwares, some artists are actually concerned about it because they're thinking, oh, wow, this will become a big thing and this will, threaten our jobs and da 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 da. And normally I would say this is another case of the old version of the type of people being like the computers are taking our jobs. But honestly, here's the thing: in a company, I want to think the best about the games industry, but I know for a fact it isn't. The companies will always try to cut costs when they can, and if these art creation softwares are becoming big enough to the point where they can effectively replace artists who can be quite expensive, especially if they're good artists, then yeah, corporations will definitely go the cheaper route. But I don't know, in that case we'll see. But it is kind of interesting seeing these trends kind of appearing in the games industry and to seeing what will
Where it's
come out
all
of that.
going and type of thing. Like what is this trend that 9 times out of 10 all the companies
Well,
who do it tend to not do too well, and then there's like the one that does really really well with it or something like that.
and that's the thing, right? Like, funny enough, in leadership, funny enough, because like I said, I think I've talked about in this. I've talked in this show in the past that I'm at the point of recording, still in college, right? I'm
we
working on
are
my third
we
diploma.
are college.
Yeah, we are the college institute. You came here to
Yes.
learn. There is a test after this video.
Yes.
But anyways, I'm working my third degree, third diploma right now, going into a degree hopefully. And one of the things I remember talking about, one of the things for leadership is like, how do you tell people that an idea is bad? Like, and this is the thing that I talked about in leadership class. How do you tell a business or people that there is a bad idea when it's producing results, right? Hey, it's
Hmm.
making them money, so it'll probably make us money. Anyone with two brain cells can look at this idea and say it's probably a bad idea, and anyone with two brain cells, or heck, even three, heaven forbid, can see that in the future this will probably cause everything to crash and burn. But hey, it's producing results, so who gives a shit? That's the problem, right? How do you tell people in industry, especially in
Just
one as
because
greedy as the
company
entertainment
A
industry?
got success does not mean company B or C will.
That's the thing, right?
Well,
Like,
actually, games industry wise, I can go and give this example. Actually, there's a reason why, like, take Halo 4 for example. Halo 4, when it came to the multiplayer, took elements from Call of Duty and a few other games and tried to mash it into the Halo world. It didn't really work out. People who played the game didn't actually enjoy elements like that. They didn't enjoy the loadout system that Halo 4 brought for multiplayer. They didn't enjoy those kinds of things. So just because Call of Duty and a bunch of other games had success with their elements doesn't mean it would work for Halo. It's little things like that where it's not always going to work.
no, that's kind of where we go back to the point of like the games industry follows trends a lot,
A
maybe even more than
lot.
some other industry,
like
maybe even some
like
more than other
all
industries. But
the term all art is derivative based off of one another is 100% true when it comes to the video game industry. Everyone is
oh
just
yes,
building off of one another and being like, all right, this is a good thing, let me put this into this and see what I get. Do I get
honestly,
milkshake or do I get bag of shit?
honestly, if you follow the train of, if you followed the like genealogy of video games back down the chain, I'm sure all games are like derivative from like Pong or something. They all trace their lineage back to Pong.
Everything is related to Pong. POV.
Yes.
There's a game before Pong, which is technically a form of tennis. Oh god.
Oh god.
There actually was. There actually
There
is.
was. There actually is. But anyways. Yeah, there's like some obscure version way before like the NES days, back in like the caveman era of gaming, where it's like two guys playing on like a singular stick on a control pad, just dunk, dunk, dunk. It all traces its lineage back down the chain somewhere, and everything's just been branching off like that. Like if you look
Yes.
at genealogy in the games industry because of how trends work, I'm sure it would just be one gigantic family tree. It's got to come back to something. But anyways, so yeah, Square Enix is definitely the ones who are most almost memishly known for following these trends and executing these trends. But they are not the only ones who are doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And we will see how this plays out. Again, how the heck they're implementing blockchain makes my skin crawl every time I hear that getting brought up in the games industry. Web 3.0, if my knowledge of my coding days is correct, is more of a buzzword than anything else. But anyways, we will see. And we will all cringe collectively when we do. So yeah,
Yeah.
Happy New Year, everyone. Hope that was uplifting. Hope you
I
enjoy
mean,
your
I mean, out of anything today, I would say the whole making your own voice in a video game is probably going to be the most interesting thing for anybody because if that actually garners real like actual
we could do it in
success.
Destiny. We could get
Guardian,
the voice Guardian. No, I'm
what
kidding.
are you doing, Guardian?
Oh my gosh.
Just like little
Oh, the
things like that. No,
clips.
like think about it. Like take Halo. Literally go and voice the grunts in whichever tone you want. It's like make a big beefy grunt looking sound, but in reality, it's just tiny scrawny looking thing that's running away from you the moment you kill their
Yeah,
leader. Like
yeah. You just,
little things
you
like
just
that would probably garner an amazing amount of success. It just has to go and get off the ground.
yeah. If done in the, here's the thing, and I think this is kind of the point we can end on for this episode.
Hmm.
In the games industry and in tech industry in general, there are so many good ideas,
Yes.
but they're often thought of by so many bad people. Like, here's the thing, right?
Yes.
Just as Justin said, this technology could do wonders for the industry if it's
Mhm.
done right. Like, I can see some interesting ideas coming out of this, right? All jokes aside, if it's done right. But here's the problem: EA is the one who owns this patent.
Yes.
we are doomed.
Yes.
I don't even want to know what scum they will create with this. It
Like
is like taking a diamond and giving it to Al Capone.
like
Sure, it's a
like
diamond, but you gave it to Al Capone.
the biggest thing, jokes aside, the biggest thing that this kind of thing could do is localization. Literally,
Mm,
you if they set it up where someone just has to go and say a good couple of generic terms, that way the system can go and get a good feel for your voice and everything, and can generate like an entire thing, like set of voice lines and everything for you. That could set up wonders for vocal or localization. Like that alone could be so much ease of use and make it so easy for people to play any kind of game anywhere in the world.
well,
So
again, we could go into 100 different
yeah,
derivatives of like how this could
it's
exist, but
just I,
again,
I I'm never gonna see EA ever go that route. Like
no.
no, I'm not gonna see them do
Let's
that.
not jest here. We know EA will use this as a new form of money laundering scheme. Let's not
EA
even
is
think about this.
likely going to monetize this towards, all right, you can go and voice whatever character you want in this game, but you got to give us some money first.
Honestly, like
Like
that's the thing,
that's
right?
how it's going to go.
There and this is a whole episode in and of itself, and we probably should do this sometime, but
Hmm.
I want to go through the games industry and go by like patent by patent by patent and just see the great ideas that have come into the games industry that some corporation has locked behind a patent and thus will never probably see the light of day within the next 100 years. Because for those who don't know, patents have a lifespan of 100 years before you cannot
Yes.
patent them. And fun fact, funny, speaking of patents, the patent on Steamboat Willie, the original from Disney, is expired as of this year, actually, and Disney is
Well,
probably going having a
what
cow over that.
hasn't the Mickey Mouse patent ended, or is it near ending?
I
Like
think
the
it'll end in the
original
next
Mickey
few
Mouse.
years. The next few years, possibly, but I know
Yeah.
at least the original Steamboat Willie patent has officially expired as of
Okay.
this year. So that's now
Oh
open.
yeah, yeah, the steamboat. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that the original cartoon for that, the most one of the most famous cartoons from Disney, is now officially open source, and they cannot legally say anything about that anymore.
Yes.
So we will
So
see.
if
And
you're seeing a lot of videos on it online lately, that's why.
yeah, that is why. And again, like I said, that's a whole episode we can do in and of itself. But I want to do one of these days, one of these episodes, and you can cite me this, Justin. Maybe this
Hmm.
is a future video in the making of us just going through the games industry, combing through, and just seeing how many great ideas were locked behind patents. Like here's a good example right now: the Nemesis system created by Warner Brothers for the Shadow of series, for the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War series. That was a brilliant idea, and for those who don't know, it's effectively a system where you can have enemies that, depending on how you interact with them in game, will remember you and kind of create these unique situations going forward. Like, let's say I kill him and, by flame, let's say. Well, he comes back, or presumably he survives, with burns all over in his face, and he's like, "You burned me to death in this location. I'm gonna make you suffer for it." And his perks maybe are different because of that, and
Like
he
more
just kind of goes
resilience
off of all
towards
that.
like fire type stuff. Like
Or the opposite way, he sees fire and he just freaks the shit out.
yes.
He just goes
Like
ah and just runs off.
elements like that are really good and could make wonderful games, but
Again, locked behind a patent because Warner Brothers patented it. Of course they did.
mm,
So we'll probably never see that. You can see systems like it, but you can never see a system exactly like that, which had the most robustness to it, because again, patented by Warner Brothers. Hell, I think even the games inside games was itself a patent at one point. And I think it maybe even still is. And I think
I don't
Bethesda owns that patent actually.
I don't entirely think it it's
I
if
think
it's
it was a patent.
patented, it maybe like that's the thing. If it is patented, I don't think they're really preventing people and or stopping people from being able to do it because there's been a
Hmm.
lot of games over the years that have been doing that.
Yeah, that's why I said I think it was a patent at one point, but I think it expired,
Mm.
or they couldn't redeem it or something. Like I said, patents
Yeah.
can be renewed for a maximum of 100 years, I believe. But anyways, it's just that kind of thing where it's like, unless the patent gets renewed, guess what? You're not, or unless the patent stops getting renewed, guess what? You're not seeing it for the next hundred some years. Well, I think it was actually, and I think it was actually patented way back in the day by, I think, Atari or something like that. They just never renewed the patent, so that's why you started seeing it in games these days. But it was for a long time. And again, it's one of those ideas that thankfully they never renewed it, but you know,
Yeah.
one of these days we got to have an episode like that. But anyways, Happy
Besides
New Year,
that,
everybody.
hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you look forward to some of the things that might come, even though they're in EA's hands. And
And we'll all collectively cringe when they do. I can feel the butt
yes,
cheeks crunching already. Anyways, have
hold
a good
your
New Year.
horses and be prepared.
Have a good New Year, everybody, and see you all in the next. See you all in the next video. Bye bye, everybody.